Hello everyone, I will be talking today about Venus as on the 30th of January, just a few days ahead, Venus will be changing sign and will be entering Sagittarius. Venus is an inferior planet together with Mercury and very fast. So we cannot expect from Venus immediately when changing signs to create events for us. But Venus will very much influence us on emotional level, will really influence our emotions, especially when this is happening in a sign like Sagittarius, where right now Saturn and Pluto are. Another important fact is that Venus is a morning star. So how is Venus feeling in Sagittarius? Now, Venus is a morning star, which means that Venus as a morning star is diurnal planet, and Sagittarius is a diurnal zodiacal sign. So this is quite fine for Venus. There she will feel comfortable. But actually, this is not her own triplicity. This is not so much fitting her nature. So Venus is peregrine there. So in terms of giving the most of her charms and blessings, this may not happen. But still, Venus will be fine there and will give us some good emotions. Now, what is happening? This will soften to a degree the hard influences of Saturn in Sagittarius. So people who would have Sagittarius rising or moon and sun in Sagittarius, or who will have Gemini rising or moon, sun in Gemini, will feel a bit of relief for 1 month approximately. But on the 13th of February, what will happen is that Saturn will be heliacally born. He will become visible. Up until 13th of February, Saturn will be hidden in the rays of the sun. And there is an ancient belief, which I know from cuneiform texts, translations from ancient Babylon, where the ancients would believe that when malefic planet like Saturn was invisible, this was fine. He would not harm us so much. But what is happening? Saturn is becoming visible on the 13th of February, and Venus is only a few degrees away from him. So if you're having again the same signs, Sagittarius, Gemini, on a key position in the chart, this may influence a bit your feelings. This may put in doubt your feelings towards your beloved ones, or you may question your feelings. You may have issues with finances a little bit. This may not be a good period for investment. This will certainly influence the markets. I will say, of course, 2 words for every sign, but this was just a very general overview I'm giving you on what to expect from Venus in Sagittarius for approximately a month. And yes, this is a fine, good thing, but let's not forget the Venus is peregrine there, so not very much at home, but also fine because is diurnal, being a morning star. So if we start from Ascendant Aries, this will be a trine. So this is fine. And then Mars is there. So this will be fine for your emotions, for your love life, for those who have Aries on the ascendant. This will be quite supportive for your private relationships. Well, not good for investing, not good for finances. But in any case, especially until the 13th of February, you may feel very fine with your personal life, with your. So what is happening for Aries actually? Venus and Saturn are on your 9th house. Not only that this will be supporting your relationship with the Venus entering Sagittarius, and especially until the 30th before Saturn rises, but this will be very interesting in terms of your spirituality, desire to study, desires to share knowledge. So this is a very interesting period. Also at that particular time, Mars will be on his own place on your ascendant, which can be a bit challenging, but can also, the trine with Mars and Venus can be positive for your relationship, but and the influence of Saturn can be very productive and very constructive in terms of your everyday activities and life. Now let's continue and say really brief 2-3 things about Ascendant Taurus. Venus will be entering your 8th house, and since this is the ruler of your ascendant, this may not be the most productive, the most positive period for you. It will be positive, quite positive in terms of spirituality, seeking of esoteric, secret knowledges. Could be that this will bring some interests related to finances that you expect from insurances, for example, or also because Jupiter is on your 7th house, or finances that you've been waiting for, some that are unexpected, money from the others, inheritances. So could be that this is could be a positive development. In terms of energy, it may be that you'll be lacking some energy of the body because this is of the placement of the ascendant ruler. So work on the spiritual level on this, and it will be helpful. What is happening with Gemini? Well, the Saturn influences from your descendant are quite limiting and maybe difficult also for your private life, for your contracts, for your relationships. Venus will soften this a bit, but on the 13th, when Saturn becomes visible, you may experience some difficulty again in relationship to your private life, contracts, people that you know. So be a bit careful. Be also responsible for your health. Cancer. For Cancer ascendant, this particular placement of Venus is happening in the place of work. This will be supporting for your subordinates, work, health. Again, on the 13th, you may experience some lessons with your subordinates at work, and be also careful with your health, which means responsible to have healthy lifestyle. This will help, and be very spiritual, of course, because Cancer is a rising sign associated with this and with powerful intuition, which you most probably have. Leo. For Leo rising sign, this placement is happening in the 5th house, which will be supportive for your creative studies, for your creative pleasure and work, for your love life. So this will be supportive. In any case, can give you new impetus for studying, for obtaining new creative knowledge. Could be good for your finances, but again, watch for this particular period, which will be approximately around the 13th, which could for everyone, this particular day could result in event, because the heliacal rise of Saturn is not like the planetary rises of the other planets. Saturn is a heavy planet, and always his heliacal rise can create events for all of us. Then we have Virgo, and this placement is in your 4th house for your home. Can impact your work, of course, and can have positive impact on your work. It will be blissful, of course, for your relationships, because Venus will be aspecting both your ascendant and your descendant. And again, watch for this particular period after the 13th of February. Because then, Saturn is becoming visible. But in any case, your home will be blessed. At work, the period which Saturn gave you, some hardships, could be a bit softened. Again, we need to be careful. It's not for no one is good for investment, because Venus with Saturn, we need to be cautious. This will create limitations in relation to money and markets. And then let's look at Libra. Now Venus is ruling Libra, and Venus is coming on your 3rd house. So supportive for your esoteric spirit life, for your communication, which must have been quite suppressed by Saturn and Pluto by now. So you will have a sort of relief until Venus is there. And yes, you are most probably going through a very spiritual period when you would say, oh, I'm experiencing new level of my spirituality, I'm learning new lessons. You may desire to travel. So this will be quite fine. This will be softening also your private life, because now Venus is trining your natal, your Mars, not natal, transiting Mars, who is over your 7th house. So this will be a kind of relief from possible conflicts, let's say, or hardships related to partnerships in any sense. But again, no good moment for investment for no one. And then we are having Scorpio rising. For Scorpio, this is happening on the 2nd house, quite blissful for the finances moment, for the way you make money. This will be supporting. And while until now you experienced most probably the hardship of Saturn on your 2nd house and the need to do extra efforts when making money, now Venus will give you temporary relief. But remember, Saturn will be on your 2nd house for quite some time, until January 2020. On the other hand, if your natal Saturn is well placed, this Saturn on your 2nd house could be also very positive. Of course, depends from horoscope to horoscope. What I am saying now is very, very basic. It is just to give you an indication, because this particular transit of Venus is not very ordinary, as Venus is meeting Saturn, and Saturn is having a heliacal rise. Sagittarius, we say a lot now about Sagittarius having Saturn, then having Pluto there. Well, this will be a period of, let's say, relief from the hard limiting aspect of Saturn on your ascendant. So Venus will give relief on also in your private life. You will be really relieved. You may have better thoughts, better emotions. You will feel happier. This is for certain. And especially because at that time, on the 15th of February, on your 3rd house, you will be having Mercury in a heliacal rise. He becomes visible. So it is very nice. You may have the impetus to do art, to create, to study additional beautiful spiritual knowledge, to do some trade, to do some communication. All this may happen. So it will be good for Sagittarius rising sign. And then we're having Capricorn. For Capricorn, Venus is on the 12th house, which is with Saturn, with Pluto. What is happening now with Capricorn in general is very interesting, because the ascendant ruler, your ascendant ruler, is on your 12th house. This is robbing you a little bit from energy, can create some limitations and disharmonies for your health. But Venus will help now a lot. And Venus there can enhance your intuition, can support you, can be a winning factor when you have to overwin something with enemies, for example, when you're having a fight with enemies. So Venus will be very supporting, while in your 12th house can be also supporting for your health. You are going through a very spiritual period, because the 12th house is the house of the secrecy, of the limitation. So do exactly what the 12th house desires. A lot of spiritual work, a lot of meditations, studying secret sciences. This will help, and will, in this way, this placement of Saturn will not be hard for you. And then we're having Aquarius, and for Aquarius, Venus is excuse me, on the is on the 11th house, aspecting the ascendant, which is quite supportive in terms of finances, in terms of supporting your emotions, in terms of benefit for your earnings, for the way you make your money, in terms of just any kind of support. And in this time also Jupiter is aspecting the ascendant, so it's quite fine, quite good blessing, both from Jupiter in Scorpio and from Venus on your 11th house. Could be that you have interesting new friendships and gains, of course. And then we have Pisces. With Pisces, this is Saturn is squaring your ascendant, but with Venus this will be quite supporting, and Jupiter is trining the ascendant, so this is softening the energies of Saturn, and now Venus is joining to soften them even more. So this is very good. The ascendant ruler trining your ascendant Jupiter, this is very supportive for Pisces ascendant. Can be again leading to desire for new knowledge, new studies, not only spiritual, of any kind, could lead to travels. This is about the Jupiter. And then Venus can be good for your career. If you had hard time during Saturn period, which is on your 10th house, Venus will be there now to help you solve some issues. So you may benefit from this period, but once again, don't forget that the heliacal phase of Saturn on the 13th of February will be valid for approximately 7 days. So this can create events in your career, but again, how they will develop depends only on your personal placement of Saturn in the chart. How well Saturn is placed, whether detriment, whether happy in the chart, all this will make difference on how and what kind of events exactly every one of us will experience based on the heliacal rise, on the symbolic birth of Saturn. So with this I'm completing my 2-3 words about every sign, and please just let me repeat, this is not a reading. I cannot get in detail, of course, because every chart is unique with different stars and of course placements of the planets. So I'm sure that when Venus enters Sagittarius, this will soften very much the influences of Saturn and Pluto, both. Let's also not forget that Venus and Pluto together give depth in our emotions. So we may get very emotional, very temperamental, and this will be on a very, very deep level, especially if this is not only a transit for us, but also whether this could be primary direction, depends on each one's horoscope, and also progression. I don't know this, of course, it depends on the horoscope, but in general Venus will join Pluto also in Sagittarius, and this will give depth to all emotions that we will be going through until Venus will be in Sagittarius. So let's be happy to experience these good and blessing influences. And with this I'm completing. Thank you for your attention.